This is the summary of Daf Lamed Tes. We start talking about the Yud K Vav K. So imagine the four letters and their shapes. That this is the Hey, which we're talking about now, which, like the shape of the letter Hey, has breadth and depth that expands upon the Yud, which is the origin. The Yud being tiny and small is like that initial spark, but it's not yet developed. And through the development, we have greater depth and texture, and that's what brings about greater love of Hashem and a greater sense of simcha. And that's why tshuva is to return that Hey, where it becomes separated. When a person is feeling squeezed, like we talk about during davening, we thus cry out to Hashem, and that crying out to Hashem is a search for freedom from the pursuit of intellectual ideas that are not directed towards godliness, that need to be released, and to contemplate this idea of how this level of godliness has been compressed into a world that can have the depth and dimension. And there we're only able to address the Shem Hashem. We have to reach out for something more expressive of Hashem, but not the essence. And in order for this to have the Havaya and the Nefesh Elokis, that is, we're still always, that Nefesh Elokis is still engaged with the body and still engaged with the Nefesh Bahamas, but there's a higher level. And that's the level that is reached when we do tshuva, when we bypass any aspect of distinction or limitation or character, even the character of the Nefesh Elokis, but as it is embedded within the Nefesh HaBahamis. And this is where we reach that greater level. And that's why there is a greater quality to the abstaining from the leisases, because resistance and self is greater even than compliance. And this is the characteristic of the Baal Tshuva and why they are able to reach to a more profound level, because they come to the B'chol Miyadecha. Like the story of Rabbi Eliezer ben Dordoi, who, although he led a life of sin, he cried himself to death, and he's given the title of Rebbe. And this is what we say during the Seres Yemei Tshuva, Mimamakim, from the depths, that there are 10 depths. And the 10th day of the Seres Yemei Tshuva, of course, is Yom Kippur. And at its apex, we reach the level where we are brought before Hashem, and thus we are released and purified. Then there is a greater analysis of this, like in a separate mimer, where we talk about, again, the shape of the letter Yud, that it begins with the point of the letter Yud, which is the depth of the love of Hashem that is embedded within the heart of every Jew, which is an allusion to the idea of the Ein Sof, a level that no thought can grasp. Then it's manifest in the body of the Yud, which is Chachma, and then it's developed within the Hey, which has Bina, then the Vav that brings it down into the physical world, and ultimately into the Hey of executed behavior. And this is like we described, that Hashem is garbed in glory. So a garment means there's concealment, but it's a garment that reveals the glory, it highlights the glory. So as we know, there are 32 pathways of Chachma, that's a concept in Kabbalah, and there are 32 times that the name Elokim is used in the creation story. And the goal is to draw it out from Elokim, that it should be manifest in something tangible and visible. So we take that Koitza Shal Yud, that's higher than Das, that wants, in a bittul sense, that's completely irrational, to surrender its very self, like the fire into the greater bonfire. And then it's manifest in a bittul where we put aside our desire for Hashem. And again, this is the superiority of the leisases, because that restraint is greater even than the compliance. And this is what overcomes the taiva for inappropriate, ungodly behavior. And when we uproot that, we reach the level of B'chol Miyadecha. And again, that's why Shmi, my name, combined with Yud Hey, the first two letters, gets you the 365 total gematria, which is the 365 prohibitions, which again underscore this additional virtue. And this is what we cry out for with the Yud, the 10 depths, the 10 levels of depths that result even on Yom Kippur, that if a person doesn't have air at the last moment of Yom Kippur, but the apex, Ne'ilah, is the ultimate illustration of the total forgiveness that Hashem brings to the world.